Hey, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. It's the Grand Popster in the living room with the candlestick. And if you've never played Clue, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if I was going to kill somebody, I wouldn't kill him with a candlestick. We're in Leviticus chapter 22, and let's dive right in and look at the regulations for the eating of priestly stipends. And a stipend is kind of, it's a kind of like a gift, but you're being paid to do something, but it's not, you're not getting a paycheck. You're being, you give a speech and they go, oh yeah, anybody who gives a speech before us at our meeting, they get a stipend of whatever, $100, $100,000, whatever it is. The Lord spoke to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons that they must deal respectfully with the holy offerings of the Israelites, which they consecrate to me, so that they do not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. So we've been discussing how when the Israelites bring their offerings, that they're not like just taking all this meat and making it go up in smoke. It's some parts of it are like a barbecue. And some parts of it don't even get to be a barbecue. They take certain portions and just give it to the priests, and that they can salt it, put it away, because they didn't have refrigeration back then, and they can then go out later and cook it, because they didn't have an inheritance. If you remember back in Genesis chapters 49 and 50, when Jacob was given the inheritance to all of his 12 sons, the Levites, they weren't given physical land, so they can't grow anything. They get scattered around the promised land being priests. And because of that, the Israelites have to bring food to the temple and give it to God, and it's consecrated by the priests, and then they can eat it, and sometimes the Israelites got to eat it with them. And anyway, say to them throughout your generations, if any man from all your descendants approaches the holy offerings which the Israelites consecrate to the Lord. So consecrate and holy are very similar words. They both mean to set aside. Throughout your generations, if any man from all your descendants approaches the holy offerings which the Israelites consecrate to the Lord while he is impure, that person must be cut off from before me. I am the Lord. So if you're for any reason unclean, and I don't know what it is, but there's a reason why they used impure instead of unclean. Probably a different word in Hebrew, probably related. And these are all things that I hope you're going to hear them and go, whoa, I need to learn more about that, and then dive in. No man from the descendants of Aaron who is diseased or has any discharge may eat the holy offerings until he becomes clean. And we saw that before, that they said, this is when you can eat it, this is when you can't. The one who touches anything made unclean by contact with a dead person, or a man who has a seminal emission, or a man who touches a swarming thing by which he becomes unclean. And swarming things are like bugs and that kind of thing. or touches a person by which he becomes unclean, whatever that person's impurity, the person who touches any of these will be unclean until evening and must not eat from the holy offerings unless he has bathed his body in water. When the sun goes down, he will be clean, and afterward he may eat from the holy offerings, because they are his food. He must not eat an animal that has died of natural causes, or an animal torn by beasts, and thus becomes unclean by it. So if you have a cow and you just wake up in the morning and it happens to be dead, you can't go like, yeah, I slaughtered it. No, you can't eat it. And if a wolf attacks it, yeah, you can't eat it. If you're a priest. I am the Lord. They must keep my charge so that they do not incur sin on account of it, and therefore die because they profane it. I am the Lord who sanctifies them. No lay person, so this is stranger. The word is better done stranger, but referring here to anyone other than the Aaronic priests. No lay person may eat anything holy, neither a priest's lodger nor a hired laborer. So a lodger is somebody living with a priest. Or a hired laborer may eat anything holy. But if a priest buys a person with his own money, that person may eat the holy offerings. So for some reason, slaves get to eat it. And those born in the priest's own house may eat his food. If a priest's daughter marries a lay person, she may not eat the holy contribution offerings. But if a priest's daughter is a widow or divorced and she has no children, so that she returns to live in her father's house as in her youth, she may eat from her father's food, but no lay person may eat it. So we're talking about a widow who returns to live with her dad and mom. If a man eats a holy offering by mistake, he must add 1/5 to it and give the holy offering to the priest. They must not profane the holy offerings which the Israelites contribute to the Lord, and so cause them to incur a penalty for guilt when they eat their holy offerings. For I am the Lord who sanctifies them. So now we're going to look at the regulations for offering votive and free will offerings. Let's find out what they are. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to Aaron, his sons, and all the Israelites, and tell them, when any man from the house of Israel or from the foreigners in Israel presents his offerings for any of the votive or free will offerings," and I don't know exactly what votive means. Like I tell you every time, I don't pre-read these. I've read them before, but this is not a Bible study. I'm just reading to you. So Google it. A votive or free will offerings which they present to the Lord as a burnt offering. If it is to be acceptable for your benefit, it must be a flawless male from the cattle, sheep, or goats. You must not present anything that has a flaw, because it will not be acceptable for your benefit. If a man presents a peace offering sacrifice to the Lord for a special votive offering, and that the meaning of this expression is debated, it may refer to making a vow or fulfilling a vow. Oh, so votive must mean when you make a vow, you go there and you say, "Lord, I'm doing this and I want you to do this for me. I want you to, whatever. I need a bigger farm. And, if you'll give me a bigger farm, I'll do this." I'm not a big fan of vows. And Jesus talks about that, but I don't want to get into that now. You must not present anything that has a flaw, because it will not be acceptable for your benefit. If a man presents a peace offering sacrifice to the Lord for a special votive offering, or for a free will offering from the herd or the flock, it must be flawless to be acceptable. It must have no flaw. You must not present to the Lord something blind, or with a broken bone, or mutilated, or with a running sore. And it says that might mean a wart, or with a festering eruption. Listen, kids, if you have a festering eruption, I think they're talking about like a boil on your skin, and there's no footnote. It just says if you have a festering eruption, or with a feverish rash. You must not give any of these as a gift on the altar to the Lord. So you have a herd of goats or sheep or cows, and you're going to make an offering. Don't take the one with the short leg. Don't take the one with an eruption, whatever that was. A festering eruption. Take the perfect ones, and you keep the other one. Eat that yourself. Don't. And this is not rocket science. God wants your best. He don't want the discards. And that's what people would do. They go like, oh, well, I'm giving this to the priests. And so, yeah, like, give them the one that has one eye. Like, no. There's nothing wrong with an animal that has one eye. But God's setting up a standard here. His standard is perfection. And Jesus was perfection. And we're not perfection. We're anything but perfection. We become perfect through Jesus. And trust me, it's not on this earth that we become perfect. You must not present to the Lord something with testicles that are bruised, crushed, torn, or cut off. You must not do this in your land. And what's interesting, my neighbor, I just saw her. I came in from going for a swim in the ocean, and I saw Heather from next door, and she has a puppy, this ugly little dog. They're nice dogs, but whatever kind of dog it is, like a bulldog or something, they're kind of ugly, and she had it neutered. And it's a boy dog, and they cut them off, and then he chewed at it, which is something that I can't do, but dogs can do, and broke the stitches. So she was taking the dog to the animal hospital to get it fixed. But we're not sacrificing dogs, so it's just an aside. Even from a foreigner, you must not present the food of your God from such animals as these, for they are ruined and flawed. They will not be acceptable for your benefit. Once again, they're fine for you to eat, but God has a standard, and the standard is perfection. And we're going to try to meet that standard, but we're never going to do it. That's why we need Jesus. The Lord spoke to Moses, when an ox, lamb, or goat is born, it must be under the care of its mother 7 days. But from the 8th day onward, it will be acceptable as an offering gift to the Lord. So if it's less than 7 days, or maybe 7 days and less since it was born, it has to stay with its mother. I don't know exactly why, but it's what God wanted. You must not slaughter an ox or a sheep and its young on the same day. When you sacrifice a thanksgiving offering to the Lord, you must not sacrifice it so that you must sacrifice it so that it is acceptable for your benefit. On that very day it must be eaten. You must not leave any part of it over until morning. I am the Lord. Now there was another kind of offering that we read before that said that you could eat it on the second day, but not the third. You must be sure to do my commandments. I am the Lord. You must not profane my holy name, and I will be sanctified in the midst of the Israelites. I am the Lord who sanctifies you, the one who brought you out from the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord. See you in chapter 23. Peace out.